The New York Rangers make a move to keep up with all the other teams that are making moves before the trade deadline. John Chick weighs in on their latest trade and whether it was a good deal for the Rangers. All that and more coming up on Locked On's 2024 NHL trade deadline.
The Locked On Podcast Network presents the NHL trade deadline.
Gil Martin here from Locked On NHL. The New York Rangers making their latest move, acquiring Alex Wennberg from the Seattle Kraken in exchange for a second-round pick and a fourth-round pick. John Chick of Locked On New York Rangers is here to weigh in. And John, how do you feel initially about this acquisition by the Rangers?
Yeah, overall, I like it. I can't say that I love it. There were some players that I certainly had a little bit higher on my wish list, so to speak, going into the trade deadline this season. Wennberg, overall, he's a well-rounded player. It's just one of those guys. I don't know that he moves the needle as much as maybe some of the other guys that got dealt a little bit earlier today, or some of the guys that probably will be traded between now and the deadline. But he offers you some defense at the forward position. And the Rangers, like a lot of teams, always looking to kind of solidify their depth, solidify the bottom six. And I do think Wennberg can do some of that. But, you look at his career numbers, especially offense, and it's not that great. With that said, though, I'm more than willing to give him a shot. And, a second and a fourth, I don't think that's an overpayment either, especially in this market. It always felt like going in, there would be a little bit of a seller's market this year. And I think we're mostly seeing evidence of that with the Tarasenko trade, perhaps notwithstanding, but the others feel like the teams have really got a nice return. So I think it's a fair price. And, I'd imagine he slots in there on the third line for the Rangers, and we'll see how it goes on Saturday night against the Blues.
You mentioned third line. Who do you think they'll line him up with? And what else do you think? You think you'll see PK time as well?
Yeah, he'll probably be in the mix for the penalty kill. I mean, the Rangers do have a good PK right now, but, talking about different trade targets that they might have, I've been mentioning the fact, and I'll stand by it now, you can never have too many good penalty killers on your team, especially when it comes to playoff hockey. I mean, if you have a bad penalty kill, it's going to be really, really hard to get through 4 rounds of the playoffs, even harder than it already is right now. So he can strengthen that unit a little bit. And as far as who he's going to be playing with, for sure, I think Will Cooley is going to be there on the left wing. And as far as the right wing is concerned, I mean, it could go a couple of different ways. I think right now, maybe you're looking at Johnny Brodzinski playing there. He could slide over there. Or, Brodzinski will probably center the fourth line, and I would imagine probably Barclay Goodrow on the third line right wing. We'll see how that goes. That's another reason why I'm not completely stoked about this trade, is just because, the Raiders had a line not too long ago as their third line: Cooley, Brodzinski, Kakko. And it feels like such a random group of players, but that trio was clicking, and they recently broke them up, and they're all on different lines. And with Wennberg, I mean, again, I like the pickup in theory, but with him being there probably means we're not going to see that line together again. And we were just starting to get to know those guys, and I liked how they were playing. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Wennberg's here, and again, certainly willing to give him a chance, and hopefully it works out, and he scores a couple of big goals for us in the playoffs.
All right, so you get Alex Wennberg. Are the Rangers done, or is there more trades ahead? And if so, what are they looking for?
Yeah, I think at this point, probably looking at a top line right winger, because they have had basically a revolving door there, really for a couple of years, but even more so than ever this year. I mean, Kakko, multiple chances there. Blake Wheeler, multiple chances there. Vesey was there for a while. Brodzinski was there for a short spell as well. And as far as, who it might be, I mean, could go a couple of different ways. I've seen, Gensel's name has been out there, but there's so much interest in him. And I just cannot picture the Rangers and Penguins doing business on a deal such as this. I mean, it's one thing if they're like, we'll take your 5th round draft pick this year and you give us your 4th round draft pick next year, something like that, a minor trade like that. But I just can't see them. I mean, Gensel at one point was, thought to be maybe the next captain for the Penguins. Are they really going to trade him to the Rangers? And do the Rangers really want to give the Penguins a bunch of, big time prospects that are going to kill them for the next decade plus? Probably not. So I don't think Gensel will happen. I mean, Pavel Buchnevich, I know a lot of fans want a reunion there. Never say never, but that feels like a high asking price as well. I'm hoping that maybe, Frank Vatrano ends up coming back. Obviously, the Rangers are going to have to pay more for him this time than they did a couple of years ago, but he seemed to click with Mika and Kreider. He's an absolute sniper, which I think they could use more of. And one of those guys, man, he wasn't with the Rangers for very long, obviously, but one of those guys that immediately fit right in. And I think myself and a lot of other Ranger fans were sad to see him go. And you know what? I mean, they've got a shot at it this year, the Rangers. And I see people saying, oh, they shouldn't be going all in. Well, when do you want to go all in? Like, when's a better time than this year when you're near the top of the standings? You're in first place in the Metro. Do you want to wait another year for everybody to be older? So, yeah, man, I'm hoping there's at least one more big deal. It probably will be just one more given the salary cap restraints. But yeah, Frank Vatrano is kind of my guy. He's my top pick at this point, and we'll see if they can get a deal done.
All right, we will check in for more on the New York Rangers and what they're going to do at the trade deadline and beyond. Tune in to Locked On New York Rangers for free on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.